The Indian American Intellectual Forum, with the support of other organizations, organized a protest in front of the Indian consulate to raise their voice against the victimization of Hindus. Key organizer Narayan Kataria spoke to us about this event.
Hindus are the backbone of India, and we have to talk about that. You cannot just ignore 80% majority by just nothing.
Say no!
Our group, we are trying to awaken American society about the Islamic terrorism.
Save Assam! Save India! Save Assam! Save India! Save Assam! Save India!
In Assam, in Bodo area, Bodo people are Hindu people. We have written to Prime Minister that Bangladeshi coming from Bangladesh and they are burning the villages of Bodo people. Bodo people are Hindu people. They are tribal people. They are not good at communication, etc. And they are being driven from their villages.
Save Assam! Save India! 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 Save Assam! Save India!
Why 1 million Hindu Kashmiris who are living there 63 years, they are not being given citizenship? And moreover, why government of India is treating people like, who is that, Guru, Afzal Guru? Why he is being treated as a state guest? Supreme Court has said this guy should be hanged. Why terrorists are being treated like a state guest? I don't understand.
Save Assam! Save India! 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 Save Assam! Save India!
This time I was surprised that lot of American people, means white people, Christian people, Jewish people, about 7-8 organizations came over there. One Dr. Marvin Belsky came over there. He is the founder of Human Rights Coalition Against Radical Islam. And that group is the apex body of 35 organizations in this country. Then Pamela Geller is also the president, and she is running a society. Name of that society is Stop Islamization of America. She sent her representative, and Dr. Kaufman from Long Island, he has got another group came, and a lot of other people came, and they took away all the videos, and those videos they have circulated all over USA and in Israel, and all over they are circulating.
Say no! Sharia law! Say no! Sharia law!
Professor Umesh Nagarkate and Nancy Ole of Medgar Evers College, the City University of New York, have written Theory of Constraints and Thinking Process in Academia. They were instrumental in organizing a workshop with a focus on dealing with non-academic problems of students. Professor Janice Cerveny from Florida Atlantic University facilitated this workshop. Ashok Vyas spoke to them about the significance of theory of constraints.
Challenging the confined assumptions, one can have an out-of-box thinking.
And you want to do good, not only your ability to grasp the subject comes into play, but also there are factors which are non-academic in nature. Now, as a professor, most of the time I'm only concerned about what is your grasp of the subject.
We feel that theory of constraints and thinking processes is the way to help students become successful in their life.
I'll cite one case that will always stay with me of a student who missed a lot of classes. I don't know what happened to her, and then finally on the last day of class she came, and after everyone else had left, she took me aside and she said, I just wanted you to know that the tool that you taught me, the prerequisite tool, had really saved her life. And she explained that in the middle of the semester her apartment had burned down, and as a consequence of that she and her 9-year-old daughter had to go to a homeless shelter. In the homeless shelter somebody stole her laptop computer, and having lost her house, having lost her computer, she lost her job. And her daughter developed an ear infection, went to the doctor treated her, it caused permanent hearing damage, and she was needing to go to her daughter's school during the day in order to resolve the disability issue. And because the homeless shelter closed at 10, she could not stay for my class, she couldn't take a class in the evening, so she was explaining all this to me and then said, it was the prerequisitry that you taught me, which enabled me to navigate this minefield that my life had become.
And fortunately, there are ways which are connecting academicians to areas that apparently are non-academic.
The theory of constraints is based on logic, which everyone knows and studies in school. And in order to make sense, you have to be logical. And theory of constraints asks three basic questions: what to change to, and how to cause the change. These are generic questions, and whenever we want to make these changes, any change at all, we need to ask these questions, and theory of constraints has tools to answer those questions.
And many times we have mental block in terms of thinking about the possible solution. We just think that there is no solution that exists, and we kind of work in certain boundary that we create boundary which acts as a prison in terms of our ability to think. And while we focus on thinking process, and we Nancy here talk about academic environment, so students come with their own bag or set of problems, and then you work in a system which also gives you certain pointers which may act as some sort of limitation in your ability to think. So you have been active in implementing a theory of constraints with students. Tell us how that experience has been, and what has been the main challenge.
I taught for many years before I realized that the problems students were having were not academic problems mostly. Most of the students were quite capable of doing the work, and what I discovered was that there were personal issues, family issues, psychological issues which were obstacles to their success. And I also realized that it was not sufficient for me to present only the content of my courses, but that the students needed assistance with thinking clearly. So I tried to implement various tools in the theory of constraints within the course context. For example, with my freshman students in psychology, I often notice that they don't buy their textbooks. And they have lots of reasons, lots of excuses for not doing it, but the fact is they don't have their textbooks. And to the extent that those textbooks are built into the curriculum, that's a problem. So I decided one semester to use sufficiency logic to help them understand the consequences of not having their textbooks. So I gave them a little example of if-then reasoning and asked them to create a branch of a sequence of if-then statements, which started with, I do not have my textbook. And very quickly the students were able to figure out that if they didn't have their textbook, they couldn't study. If they didn't study, they wouldn't pass their exams. If they didn't pass their exams, they'd fail the course. And one student said, and if I fail the course, I will not succeed in life, which was, I think, a logical jump that was not warranted. Nevertheless, they began to understand the consequences of that simple action of not having their textbooks.
I have developed a website called TOCforcollege.com, which would help students in high schools and colleges, administrators, community workers, and those who are interested in changing their environment.
Maybe we're not doing a very good job on teaching people how to think. I'm not certain what it's like in India, but I know that so much of what we do in our academic setting is we get people to memorize things and to regurgitate things, and then if they can pass the examination, we say, you now understand these things. But it never translates, or too rarely translates, to where they can do something. So part of what I did is I thought, okay, let's see if we can explain why can't people think? And I think it's partly because the ability to think has been trained out of them. I think the other part of the problem is that we don't have good tools to ensure that people think. So what we do instead is rely upon the same way we've always done things. So what's nice about the theory of constraints and these tools is they simply get people to say, okay, if I take this action, then I'm going to see this happen because, and get them to surface assumptions, to understand that just because I take this action, it's not automatic that only good things will happen. But it's also a way to analyze history. It's a way to understand mathematics. It's definitely a way to deal with business. So that's why we know we have to work a little bit more on that first thing.
We feel that people should have tools, thinking tools by which they can solve academic as well as non-academic problems.